What if I told you that there are certain negative thoughts, there are certain thoughts that keeps lurking in our mind and they keep troubling us. For example, nobody ever helps me. If I don't do this, it will never get completed. I have to do this. So how many of you get these thoughts? Even I get these thoughts. These are emotional statements that keeps troubling you. And in psychology, it's called the symptoms. And it's very important that we need to get off it. Ladies and gentlemen, symptoms have a tremendous impact on our personal and professional life. If you are a manager, if you are in a family, you can imagine how these statements can impact us, impact the relationship, the well-being between two people, amongst the people. Today I'm going to share with you 4 such symptoms. There are many more, but these 4 symptoms actually impact us in our professional life, personal life. And I would also like you to go, when you're listening to these symptoms, understand, experience it, feel it, how it actually impacts you. Done? So let me take you to the first symptom. Whatever I do is never good enough. Now this particular symptom has a long history. When we were children, remember our parents used to tell us, strive for more, do something more. This is just not good enough. When we started moving into college, we started experiencing this with teachers. And when we started working, our managers always told us this. Remember, you work hard, you slogged hard for a particular project, and your manager tells you, this is just not good enough. How do you feel? And over a period of time, if you start listening to this, that that whatever you've done is just not good enough, you develop a kind of thinking pattern within yourself. If you start accepting it, okay, this is good for me, then you actually start becoming a perfectionist because you're working hard to ensure that it's now good enough. But in also many cases, what happens, you start taking it negatively. And when you start taking it negatively, you start feeling depressed, you start feeling sad, and you start realizing that you're just not worth it. And ladies and gentlemen, you start becoming exhausted, you start burning out. Do you realize how it is impacting you? Do you see how this is impacting you in your official relationships, in your personal space? I'm sure you'll be actually feeling it, you'll be realizing it, how it is impacting. Let's go to the second symptom. Everything has to be difficult, whatever I do. Now for most of us, life has never been easy. We have passed through huge struggles. To do well in the class, we really struggled. We really worked hard. To qualify for entrance exams, we really worked hard. And when it comes to job, we really work hard. And you always start realizing, listen, whatever I'm doing is actually very tough. Now, over a period of time, as you start always realizing that whatever you're doing is actually very tough, it's actually very difficult, it starts impacting you. If your manager tells you this is the job you have to do, you'll always say, yes, I'll do it, but you will do it anyway. And as you move ahead in time, you start developing some thinking patterns. You feel that if my job is not tough enough, I'm not worth it. What will people tell me? You could also develop another thinking pattern that if it is not tough, How will I be valued? You could also develop another thinking pattern similar to that. Not, you should not, like there's a quote, you should not count your chickens before they are hatched. You will actually work hard, you will actually come to the result, and then you will start counting your chickens. Can you, ladies and gentlemen, imagine the impact it has? Everything has to be difficult, whatever I do, and you're realizing it. You have taken it into your head that it is going to be difficult, whatever you're going to do. So your life will be difficult at a personal space, your life will be difficult at a professional space, but it's going to be difficult. Think about the impact it is having on you. Start exploring that. Let's look at the third one. Nobody ever helps me. I have to do everything myself. If I don't, nothing will happen. Probably the one that I just talked in the beginning of the video. Now, if you have developed this kind of mindset, these kind of symptoms in your head, do you realize where your locus of control is? Your locus of control is completely within you. You're not even sharing it with others. You don't trust others. You don't believe in luck. You know that things will happen because you will make it happen. Things will happen only if you make it happen. And these are the thought processes that keep coming in mind. Research also tells us that if you have this kind of mentality, mindset, you will be under tremendous pressure. How many of you have this kind of thought process? There was a time when I used to also experience this. But this is a thought process that can actually be a big time killer. A symptom that you really need to get away from. Let's look at the fourth one. When I have something nice, it's bound to be taken away from me. How many of you feel this way? I remember there are many friends in my relation, many friends and some in my relation who actually feel this way. They always say that they never discuss performance with anybody. Why? If they talk about their performance, next month that performance will fall. There's some of my friends who actually tell me that I never tell people that I'm going for an interview. Because the moment I tell them, I will not qualify for the interview. When I have something nice, it's bound to be taken away from me. This is a symptom that keeps lurking on people. Then just see the impact. It makes you move inward, inward, and inward. And how does it impact your relationship with your manager, with people in your workspace, people with family? Can you just think about it? So these are the 4 symptoms that I was sharing with you today. There are many more equally troubling emotional statements or symptoms. But these 4 have a tremendous impact on you. And let's see how it impacts us. For example, let me explain it through a graph. In this, you need to be, your symptoms need to be within the window of tolerance. There should be a range within which it should fall in. If you go to the extreme, there will be hyper cases that will come in. You'll start panicking, you will start actually doing hypervigilance, you will be a reactive person. But you're demonstrating very less of this, you will actually be emotionally numb. You'll become a very passive person. Then also it impacts relationships. Then also it impacts you in your workspace. Then also it impacts you in your personal space. So ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs, managers, HR specialists, educators, all of you, symptoms play a big role in your personal life, in deciding relationship, the future of relationship with other persons. And if you have got a good hold over the symptoms that you have, at least aware, you can take your relationship to the next level and you can be actually very successful. It's always said, your success is not solely dependent on you. It's also dependent on the persons. So the more you demonstrate your control over the symptoms, the more powerful you'll get, the more relationships you'll develop, the more connect you'll develop, and you'll be able to achieve more and more of your expectations. Thank you so much.